All right, we're going to jump in because Canada's Industry Minister, François-Philippe Champagne, is speaking. Had a question period. Let's listen in here.
We want that to be as transparent as
But the Prime Minister
possible.
says they'll be lowered.
Well,
Will they
listen,
lower?
the objective is to stabilize prices in Canada because what we've seen over time is the delta between general inflation and food price inflation has been dislocated. So the mission we've been given is let's stabilize prices in Canada and let's have them take meaningful action. Now, that being said, obviously what we want is competition. I've given them an objective, but if you'd been in the room, you would have seen that each and every one of them will try to outcompete the other because it's not about the government of Canada. It's not about me or the Prime Minister. It's about millions of consumers. So now, since they understood what is being asked of them, they're going to compete with each other to provide the best possible deal to Canadians.
When will prices stabilize?
Exactly the definition of, is it stop rising
Well,
completely,
listen,
going up by 1%?
It's
And
well
by what
understood
date?
when you're talking about stabilizing prices in the sense that you want prices to be in line with what you see in terms of general inflation. What you had over time, you have a dislocation. If you look, and it's not unique to Canada, by the way. Let's be clear to Canadians. That happened in France, that happened in the United Kingdom, that happened in Europe. But what you want to see is for price to stabilize and that we don't see that kind of inflation that we have all seen when we go to the groceries on Saturdays.
Just to clarify, though, what you
I've
just
been
said to
very
Alex.
clear.
No, you haven't, though. This is what's so confusing. You just said to Alex, as we understand, that you don't want prices to fully flatline. You just want them to only increase as much as the
what I
overall
said,
CPI. Can you please clarify?
Well, I think I was pretty clear, but I'll repeat. In English, you want?
Yeah, because
Okay,
I'm not
but I
understanding
speak
so
French
far.
as well. I can do it in French.
Maybe I need to do an
But
extra grade in high school,
what I said is very clear. What we have said to them is to come back with plans that would take
No,
meaningful
but to
action.
Alex's
Yeah,
point.
but that I'm trying to answer, but I'm looking there and at you at the same time, so that we take meaningful action for them to stabilize prices in Canada. And obviously, our objective is that this will their objective that we put there. That's the objective. Now, they will compete among each other now to bring the best possible deal to Canadians. So we have an objective, but what I would want is market forces so they can look at what they're going to do to compete. We gave them an objective, but we didn't
You're
have...
not being clear.
I'm being very
No,
clear.
you're not.
I'm being
Minister,
clear.
you're being...
Example of one of the consequences they might face if they don't stabilize prices.
Well, I mean, the Prime Minister has been very clear. As everything is on the table to have them...
What's one
Well,
example of what you
listen,
might do?
the Prime Minister, when we're in London, has been very clear that everything is on the table. But now, what is important for Canadians to understand is that yesterday the tone has changed. For the first time in Canada's history that I'm told, Professor Charlois told me it's the first time in Canada's history that you have the 5 grocers in the same room. That's unique because this is not a regulated industry. So what we've achieved is to bring them in the same room, for them to accept the challenge and the very specific demand that we have put to them. We say, come back with plans, with meaningful action to stabilize prices in Canada. And that's what we say.
Does stabilizing mean? Does
Well,
it
listen,
mean-
I've
does
been
it-
answering 3 times.
No, but you haven't. Does stabilizing
But
mean...
I think I've
does
been answering to
stabilizing
you.
mean-
I've said that-
Does stabilizing mean prices only go up in line with
I've
overall
said
inflation?
to stabilize
or that they
prices
don't
in
go up at
Canada,
all?
and then they're going to compete with each other to bring
Sir,
the
that's
best
not my
possible.
question. My
Well,
question-
that's my answer.
My question is, will the
That's
prices
my answer.
continue to go up?
That's
Monsieur
my
Champagne, pourquoi avoir décidé d'aller en 2 étapes? De d'abord rencontrer les épiciers,
Do
après
this in
ça,
2
les
steps. First of
manufacturiers.
all, meeting the grocers and then the manufacturers. Why not speaking to everybody? Well, you have to start somewhere. What I would say there, you have to start somewhere. The idea here, and what I expressed, it's simple. I expressed the frustration of millions of Canadians who says, look, we've all seen, everybody watching, that inflation in the groceries has increased exponentially. So what we said, first line, the first thing we need to do, the people we need to put pressure on, and I've expressed this very clearly to the manufacturers, we need to stabilize this in Canada. Now, I'm very aware it's a supply chain, it's complex. What I said is that we'll work to do the same thing for large manufacturers, the Nestle's, the Unilevers, PepsiCo. And also what I've said is not only would I do it with Canadian CEOs, but also what we're able to do, if that doesn't work, is we'll turn to the boards abroad. And I've already started talking to colleagues in Japan, the UK, France. We'll have a G7 initiative to do it together to have concrete results. That's what we're...
Well, I want the plan by Thanksgiving, and
time?
Well, the plan's by Thanksgiving, and I would say shortly thereafter, because you have to understand, it's in their own best interest, because Canadians are watching and they want to see.
How fast, realistically, could these prices stabilize, as you say?
Well, I would say, if you were in the room, you would have seen that they're very eager to compete with each other.
Clear to Canadians, how much? When do they expect prices to stabilize? By the end of this year?
I would say that we expect plans and them to take meaningful action.
What does that mean? What does that mean in terms of timeline? By the end of the year?
That's what I'm saying. Listen, they're going to put the plan by Thanksgiving, and we want meaningful action from there. But the plans will be there in action, and we're going to be able to report back on them to Canadians. You'll see me every day, and I'm happy to comment on that. Je vous entends pas.
Any strategies for price fixation? How do we avoid that? Well, actually, you understand here, because what we're doing, we're giving them a very clear mandate, but we're letting competition go, because what I think will happen, honestly, is that these people compete with each other. So with the competition, we'll have the best possible result for Canadian consumers. Thank you.